Hey everyone, it's Trombone, and welcome to the most popular videos I do, probably because I share my opinions the least, so you end up learning the most. Before I dive in today, I want to announce that I was talking with someone on my friends list. He's starting in music, and rather than giving my time to NCS, non-copyright sounds, who already has a huge following and name recognition, I won't include his music in this video, but I will add his SoundCloud in the description. My next This Week in Bronze is in the works, and you can expect to see that featured there. But this is a long patch, so I should start talking about it soon. Here we go. Ornn. Ornn's coming out. He's super cool, looks cool anyway. And if you want to know more about what he's all about, I did make a video on that. Also, Riot does a really excellent job on releasing what you need to know for champions coming out, so those resources are always there for you. And we're going to start looking at changes rather than new stuff. Draven. His passive. We're going to talk all about his passive today because that's all they changed. So he loses 75% of his stacks on death rather than 50%, and base gold on his champion kills is now going to be 25 rather than 50. I want to talk about this one because Draven has been having a larger impact on solo queue because his snowball is so strong, and this should curb that a bit and put him, unfortunately, lower on the ADC tier list, where he wasn't really an S tier champ to begin with. Hecarim. Hecarim has a new skin, and although it's really hard to get people aren't really buying it enough, so Heck is going to get some buffs. His E doesn't count down during his ult charge, and his ult sphere is 0.75 to 1.5 seconds based on distance rather than a flat 1 second at all distances. Again, wouldn't put too much thought into these. More than likely, these are just reminding players that Hecarim exists and to convince them that, hey, he's got a cool skin now. Leona, her passive. So it has less of a mark duration, and it's down to 1.5 seconds rather than 3.5 seconds, but it does come with higher damage at every level, and that's up to an additional 39 damage at level 18. Also, her Q cooldown is 6 seconds at all levels, and all I have to say is that I'm not looking forward to all the initiation early that Leona already has to offer. I don't think she's a high priority support right now, but it is more intimidating when I find one in games. With the sensor changes probably going to come up just a little bit again, but we'll get to those sensor changes later. Moving on. Maokai. Really brief. Remember when Riot changed what happens when different abilities interact with wards? This is part of that. One word, passive. Moving on to Urgot. His W is going to refresh the lock-on. So essentially you can do more damage to the champion that you intended to. It's not going to move around so much, and you're going to be able to get that damage on your intended target, especially if you do put in the time of setting that lock-on before you hit your W. E, it has a bug fix size change. Yeah, it's still a buff, I guess, but it's very small. And his ult, slow and reactivation window, which is what they call it, so when you pull him in, it's now going to be 4 seconds rather than the 3. Overall, I love Urgot. He's so much fun. He brought me joy for a good 1.5 to 2 weeks. Nice little refresher in there for League. And surprisingly manages to put out quite a bit of damage. I'm excited for the changes. They aren't that big, pretty much just quality of life stuff, making them a little better. Lastly, in the champion change side of things, Zed, his base attack speed is up 0.007, which sounds insignificant, and overall it really is. In reality, you're only getting like one more auto every 5 or 10 seconds. That's if you're constantly auto attacking. So you tell me what's insignificant. It's that. W, his shadow is going to last half a second longer, which is more significant than the attack speed change. So let us all, on behalf of Bronzies everywhere, welcome back to the Rift, Zed. Now we're going to move on to the item changes where we can talk about Censer some more, but there are some stone plate changes too that aren't really changes. I'm going to take a bit of this time, because this did end up being really short, which is really cool, to talk about Censer and the impact that I think this can really have on the game as it stands right now. First, let's talk about what it does. So it finally got a nerf. So it's going to give you 20% attack speed flat and 25% health drain. Rather than having it scale up to 35 each from 20, they're just going to give it the 25. I'm not sure that it's 100% like big enough to make Censer irrelevant, and I don't think that was their goal. I don't think their goal was to make it overpowered and by these nerfs make it irrelevant again. Just enough, in my opinion, to push that A and B tier supports up into like legitimate relevancy. So we had a place in League where Janna was always slotting into the #1 support, like automatically, for weeks, months, almost like a month and a half. So that's super crazy. I think, like I said, these buffs, or nerfs rather, are gonna bring other supports up into relevancy. It's not really making, you know, Janna, Soraka, Lulu, Karma to an extent weaker significantly. I mean, obviously it's making them a little bit weaker. Their impact's going to be a little less, but it's not so much so that they're dead. It's just enough that picking other supports is okay and relevant, and you're not putting your team at a disadvantage for not picking those champions. And I think that's really cool. I think it gives comps a chance to do other things. It's no more protect the ... comps anymore. You're not limited to that. So that's pretty cool. That's what's happening with Censer. That's my opinions on it. I know I said I was going to try to avoid my opinions so you can learn stuff, but whatever. Moving on to Stoneplate, I said it was more like a bug fix type thing, not really changes. So it did get changes. So basically, Cinderhook was giving you 20% bonus health before you activated Stoneplate and during it. So you got that buff from Cinderhulk twice. They just took that away when you activate it. So you're still getting that 20%, you're still getting the nice stats, you're still getting the bonus health from Stoneplate. It wasn't huge changes. They just made sure you weren't getting a significant advantage from having Cinderhulk and Stoneplate activation. So that's pretty much it there. And if you care about that kind of thing, new set of Star Guardian skins is coming out. Not really my thing, is a thing, is coming out this patch. And that just about wraps it up for 7.17. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and learning about the patch with me. Thanks again. Like it if you did, subscribe if you did, dislike if you didn't, never click on anything I make again if you didn't. Other than that, thank you everyone again, and until my next video, have a good one.